All right. So yeah, good evening, guys. You're all welcome to our live session this evening. We're pretty late, but yeah, let's get started. So today's Thursday, which means the market has moved quite a bit, and yeah, we'll see how far what is going on in the market. But before I go any further, I just want to ask how your portfolio is looking because mine is looking really good. So I think I'll just throw it out here. How's your portfolio looking so far? Any comments, please?
Actually, personally, mine is um, quite at break even, if I may say, because I'm actually holding only three trades, and one is actually on drawdown. Why one is say at break even, which the last one is actually pound NZD, which yesterday and earlier today, I think it kind of pulled back for towards the evening session. I can see that it's pushing up to profit again. So not really bad, if I may say. Not really bad. Not really bad though.
All right. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Anybody else? Who else? Let me see. How is your portfolio looking? Also, like, what are your stats for last month? How did your previous month end? These are the questions. Yeah. Anybody else? You guys see something? I mean, we're all traders, right? How's your performance been? How's your portfolio looking so far? I'd like to know. Yeah, George,
Yeah,
go ahead.
please. Yeah, for me, I can say it's okay. The last time I broke my rules and I took a loss, but I can say my portfolio is okay now. Though it's like I lost the profit I made, but I still have my capital intact, so I think it's okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, okay. We'll come back to that, George. But yeah, anybody else? Anybody else? How is your portfolio looking?
Mine's bad. I just started.
Oh, yeah, yes, bad. But that's fine. I mean, that can change. But then when you say bad, like, in what context? Let's see how bad is it really?
Not so bad. I just started with 500 and so far I'm down 350.
350. Yeah, that's quite a loss. Um, yeah, that's quite a loss. Truly. Question is, how do you trade? Like, let me have a better idea as to how you trade. How do you trade? Are you a swing trader? A trend? What is your style of trading?
I'm trying to learn to be a day trader, to trade at what do you call to trade I'm trying to trade gold and I'm in Asia, so I I'm trying to learn how the Asian trend is going before the London and the New York. 'Cause I think the New York trend is always manipulative and like the big fishes are there to catch us. So I try to learn the Asian market, I try to trade with the Asian market since I'm in Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So, do you already have like a working system? Would you say you
Okay.
already have a system that works
No,
or not?
currently I don't. I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't honestly.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So since you're new here, I'd suggest this is what I would suggest to anybody who comes on here and is very new. I would suggest you come on the live sessions, right? So aside the analysis that we post, the live sessions are like an avenue for you to make progress, right? Ask your questions, show us your charts, how you trade, and things like that. So and yeah, we get to look at the markets live like every single week. So I honestly think that the live sessions contribute a whole lot. In fact, I think it's one of the best aspects of the education we provide because we're just starting the month of May today.
Yeah.
And now we started the live sessions like for the free community, we brought it in like somewhere at the end of December. So, but if we ask everyone here who has been consistent since that time to say a thing or two about how the live sessions has improved their trading, everybody here will have a thing or two to say. So, the education, the value speaks for itself. And I'll just say, if you're new here, just make sure to be consistent, right? If you are consistent, I promise you, in the next few weeks and months, you're going to make so much progress. Okay,
Definitely, definitely. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
of course,
All right.
of course, anytime. All right, so we've got a few inputs now. Personally, I'm also doing very well. In fact, as we speak, let me see. As we speak, I'm up almost 10% running trades. That's to say that some of these trades have pushed really well so far this week. But yeah, we're still just starting because, like I said before, we're expecting somewhere around 40% if all of these trades play out. So I think we're still like kind of behind, not the timeline, but behind as to what we're expecting from these ideas. We'll break them down in a bit and then we'll look at some journals. But yeah, so far so good. Now the month of April has ended, so I think by the end of this week I will update the journal will be updated. I'll show you guys what we're looking at so far. But I think you guys already know what we have. I'm up 13%, and that's about it for the first 4 months. In terms of profit, we closed like the first few profits at the start of the month. I think 3 of those trades played out on the 4th of April. So that was like the first start of the month. So since then, we haven't closed any. Okay, we've just closed one extra trade, which is pound JPY, which I've also re-entered. So yeah, that's about it. Plus 13% so far. I think we're doing really good. Now, if we close our running trades as of now, we'll be up about 23%. But that's like 23% in April, like at the end of April. But I'm not closing these trades yet because they all have potential. And yeah, I want to allow these trades to play out as they are supposed to, which is why I think that we might have a very fantastic year. Let's just see. All right. So yeah. So I'll go on to the charts now, and I'll just quickly run through what we have on the charts, and then just like we said in our last session, we'll take some journals today and just review them. Okay. So if you're new here, what I meant is almost 2 months ago we discussed how important journaling is to trading success, and we deliberated so much on the importance of a journal. So since then, we've said that we're all encouraged to keep our journals, track our trades, and things like that. So the reason why we're trying to review now is because some time has passed. So we're trying to see what some of us have done in terms of tracking and what the journal sees about their performance, how they can maybe make adjustments or anything. Let's just see. Right. That's what the review would help us do. So, but before we get into that, let me just quickly run through the charts and yeah. So first of all, can you guys see my screen? Just making sure we're on the same page.
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Sweet. So, let's see. The GPY is interesting. So they're pushing, right? They're pushing, just like we said. They're pushing. So in terms of an update, I would still say not much has happened. The only exciting thing or interesting thing that's happened so far is earlier this morning, the Bank of Japan released their interest rate report, and they decided to keep rates unchanged. So they did not hike rates, they didn't cut rates. Now, this was very much expected, right? Because with the Trump tariffs and the way it's affecting the market, there was no need. And also, coupled with the fact that, like I said, the economy is not looking too good, a rate hike would not be very beneficial for Japan. It would just put them into a very dark hole. So it was more than expected that they would not increase interest rates, although that's in their plan, you get. So it was kind of like a dovish outlook, or so here's the thing: a bank can either be hawkish or dovish, so that would mean hot or cold, right? So it was more like a dovish outlook. So the yen kind of like, so the sentiment around the yen now is weak. So you see what I've always said about sentiment, how they can just change. Okay. Last month, and in fact, since the last 2 months, we've seen that Japanese yen has gained strength, okay, because of safe haven demands. That is true. But now you can see the sentiment is changing. The Bank of Japan did not hike rates, and the sentiments around the yen are now slightly changing. Now you see the effect that we're currently seeing on the market. Now, AJ, same thing. I don't plan to buy at this price. If we get a pullback, a bounce, maybe I'll consider that as a plan. Unless that happens, then the next bet is to get a breakout, a retest, and continuation. Stack that up for AJ. I'm not trying to draw too many levels here because sometimes you can get really confused. So I'm not trying to draw too many levels here, to be honest. Now I'm only interested in these levels, right? That's why I just have them. So a pullback here or a breakout, any of these things would be fine in my opinion. Cat JPY, yeah, we're pushing back. I still need a breakout, like I said. Right? Still need a breakout. CHL JPY, we're back. Now I don't want to leap for joy just yet. Until we break above this resistance level. And even that will not guarantee that it will play out. But I think we need to see this break, right? It's been a while since October of 2024. We have not broken past this level. So I think CJ is due for a breakout. I like to think so. So yeah, let's see. All right, let's see. If it does break out, then fine. That will mean more buys for us. EJ looks like it's finally breaking above the key level. Now, this is just beautiful to see because it helps us to understand the importance of patience, right? How you just have to wait for the trade to settle. You just have to wait. There's nothing you can do. Anything outside waiting will just mean you have to go outside the plan. And that's not one thing I'm going to do. So I just have to wait. And finally, EJ is breaking. Now, a breakout, of course, does not automatically mean that we're going to have a break and retest, but it just explains that this is a step in the right direction, which is cool to see. Now, it might mean that we'll have to wait throughout the month of May to confirm this breakout, right? Which means almost likely not be behind EJ this month. So I think we'll have to wait throughout the month of May to make sure that the monthly candle confirms the breakout, and then we'll get for a retest, maybe next month. So still a long way to go with EJ. Pound JPY, yeah, back in profit. Now, this is also to explain to some of us as to why I re-entered Pound JPY, right? They also explained that the loss I took was not because I was wrong. You see, it happened. It was because even though I kept my stop way below the level, sometimes you get weak out. So we saw how the market was reacting in the past during the time of the tariffs, and how for a minute, the key level was broken. But how price just went back above the key level. That just shows that there was never a breakout. And then look at this. Look at the monthly candle, right? It tried to break, but it failed. So this goes to show that the trade idea is very much active. And it just reiterates the point that as long as the idea is active, I would always be in that trade. Okay? As long as the key level has not been invalidated, then of course, I'd always think the trade. So that's that for Pound JPY and profit, which is good. So like I said, this is what is contributing to the 10% move we're having right now, Pound JPY, and also CHL JPY. Moving on, NJ, same thing. If you don't have a pullback here, then a breakout of the key level. So I think NJ still has a long way to go, in my very humble opinion. And then USJPY. Now, yeah, it does seem like we may not have that pattern. Okay, maybe we don't have the pattern. I'm not sure.
Actually, hello, Casey.
Yeah, Abdul.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you on Discord. I wanted to ask you on Discord that it seems we are being left out on UJ.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. Now, this is one of the things I always have to how do I explain now? It's one of the things I always have to prepare for, right? That as I try to wait for opportunities to set up in line with my system, sometimes it will not happen. I have to agree with that. And yeah, maybe UJ may not present that opportunity I'm looking for. And this is why I said that it is not like it's wrong to buy. It is not wrong to buy. It's just not something I would do. I don't know if that makes sense. I think I've always tried to clarify this fact. I'm doing this to explain that just in case UJ plays out, it's the same idea we're looking out for, right? Same thing we're doing. The difference is my entry pattern. So if you try to buy here at the key level, it's not wrong. The fact that I would not do it does not mean it is wrong. I think I've always made sure to clear that fact. But yeah, maybe UJ would not present that opportunity for us. Yeah, then it's what it is, I guess. Now, but I really love this because the last time I bought this guy was here, and it was a sweet rally to the upside. So In all honesty, I would have loved this, but I guess it's not. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. It may not happen really, because for this to happen, we need like the dollar to weaken again. And to be honest, I don't really see that. I mean, unless NFP tomorrow is like really bad, I don't really see the dollar taking like a serious hit anymore. I don't see that, in my humble opinion. So for UJ to break the key level, it means that the dollar has to weaken against Japanese yen, and yeah, that's a big ask. That's a big ask, to be honest. So, yeah, that's about it. Let's move on. A card. There's nothing, to be honest with me. Euro card. So, hold up. Let me see. Yeah, so we broke out of the key level last month. It was a struggle, but I think we still have the breakout. Now, let's just... Yeah. 1.55, yeah, that's the key level. So, let me see. Okay, so here. So we broke out the key level last month, which was yesterday barely. And I am now very interested in Eurocard. So we've waited and we had the breakout. It was quite a struggle, because you see how price rise closed very high, kind of failed in the end. So let me see. This is what I'm looking out for as the arrow depicts. A pullback. If we kind of test this level and find support, then I would consider this a break and retest, and I would look to go long. Okay, so Eurocard is now also on my watch list for buys. All right. So yeah, same thing, right? We've been waiting for the idea, waiting for the breakout. We finally had that, and now we're pulling back. So let's see. But then remember that if we pull back, have a retest, we bounce off, we buy, and then it plunges to the downside. Two things are involved. It's either this was a fake out, or the market will present another opportunity for us to buy again. So see. Pound card, still long, although we had some sort of pullback. Two days ago, so Tuesday and Wednesday we had a pullback. Key level was speaking up. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so this was the resistance that I was speaking up, and I said we need to break above, or we need to break above, and so far we've not done that. So I'm still holding. Let's see if pound card can get that momentum to this. If it does this, then that's like maybe the final step before we hit take profit. But yeah, pound card is in profit, and it has also aided my portfolio really well. NZD card. Yeah, so we're now switching back to the downside, which is good. Remember what we said in our last analysis. For some of you who have been consistent, this was the like the previous lower high. That's why we have the arrow down here. So we agreed that as long as the market respects this as the lower high, price might come back. Remember what we said then? Price might come back to form equal highs. Okay, because like we said, if we're trying to find out, so this was like the previous low, and the market was trying to print a lower high, which it did here. And after I did that, it came down to print the new low. So after this new low, the question is, where is the next lower high going to be, right? Because if the trend is going to move to the downside, of course, the market has to present lower highs and lower lows. So if this is the lower low, where is the next lower high going to be? So that's the question, and only time can answer that question, right? So now that price is pulling back, I said that in some cases, the market might come back to the previous lower high, respect it, and then create the new low. Okay, that happens in some situations. So the trend is still active, at least until we break above the previous lower high. If we break past it, we go back to the key level and test. But if we don't, then the trend continues. And so far, as we are seeing, yeah, the trend is still active because it looks like we're forming equal highs around this area, which is not bad. So yeah, NZD card has turned around and is now in profit once again. And of course, that has added to my portfolio. So what else? USD card, nothing yet. We need a breakout, and so far hasn't happened. So Euro AUD, nothing for me, to be honest. Euro NZD, let me see. This is quite tricky, right? I would not I think this is slightly different. Okay, this is slightly different from some other pairs. Let's look at the daily. Now, already on the daily we have a break and retest, right? But on the monthly, we did not quite have that close well above the key level. I mean, we tried, okay, here, we tried, but even though it's a kind of a breakout, it is, how to explain this now, it is not like a clear breakout, right? If it was somewhere around these highs, that would have been so much better. I think Euro NZD, for personally, I would not want to consider this a breakout because the next candle can easily, right, just easily do this, and then that's just price rejecting this as resistance. So we have to be careful when we try to determine breakouts. It can be tricky sometimes, and that's why we have to be careful. So yeah.
So can
Pound yeah.
it's supposed to the body must break out out of the key level, not that the body of the candle must be a
now. Yes, of course. The body, not like the full body has to close above the key level, right? Not that. But you see, sometimes it comes with intuition and experience because this, I would not want to consider this a breakout. I mean, look at this. It is just right above. It's a breakout, yes, but it's quite tricky. Now, the reason why I say this is because you see, sometimes key levels are not exact price points. In most cases, they are areas, right? So in this case, it is not like the best breakout because remember we need the breakout and then the retest. Now if you come down to the daily time frame, it will be very difficult to interpret a break and retest because we're already having a break and retest already. You get, so that means that the breakout was not enough for us to get like a new retest. I don't know if that makes sense because we're already having a retest as we speak. So I'm not going to buy this as a break and retest if that makes sense on the daily. I would not, considering that we've not had the best breakout. So that's pretty much how it's not like there's a fixed rule, to be honest. There's no fixed rule. It's just intuition and then just making sure that the candle actually did break out properly. So if that makes sense. All right. So yeah, moving on. Pound AUD. Exactly. Now something like this, right? This is a breakout. We can't argue that this is a breakout. You get. So pound AUD, we broke out. Now I'm expecting a retest. So it's now I can peacefully wait for a retest. Your NZ is quite tricky. In fact, it is too tricky, and I don't want to be involved with that. Pound NZD. So breakout, which was clear. Pullback, retest. We tried. It almost stopped us out. Let's see. Yeah, it was very close. It was dead out. It was very close. But yeah, maintain the key level and of course we're still in the trade. Now it's just below break even. Just below, pretty much break even, to be honest. So I think Pound NZD, this guy, and Palladium. I think these are the only two trades that are just below break even. They're literally at break even, but like they're like just the only ones in reds, if that makes sense. So everything is really going well. So I'm still holding this guy, if that makes sense. And I'd like to see the entire move play out, right? So still a long way to go, to be honest. I'm here for the ride. So yeah, that's Pound NZD. Moving on, we have let me see, 80 USD. So now, to be fair, I still expect downside confirmations on dollar pairs. To be fair, so this is 80 USD. We're currently testing this weekly level of resistance. I don't think price has enough momentum to break and test this level, not yet. Of course, the dollar has to be very weak for that to happen, especially against the Australian dollar, which I think is rare. But it can happen. We don't deny that it can absolutely happen. But with the odds right now, doesn't look like it. So I still think I want to have downside. Now I'm not selling here, of course, because of my entry patterns, and I will only sell if for any reason we come back up here and have my pattern show up. That's when I'll get involved. But yeah, so far, I still think that we might just have the downside confirmation from this point. Okay. Euro USD. Let's see. So we had the breakout on EU, and now what I'm waiting for is a retest. Now it is still tricky, but we have to see. Now the only reason why I would not get involved with EU is if we pull back like this, right? So if we pull back in this manner, which means there will be no break and retest, right? It would be like invalid, if that makes sense. Then in such scenarios, then I would not look for any trades. But if we come down here, retest the key level, find support, and price starts to bounce away, I would have no option but to buy Euro USD, in all honesty. So that's my plan, okay? I will not deviate from my plan, even though I think the dollar is strong. So best case scenario is the dollar should be strong enough to not find support at this key level, right? It should be strong enough to break below the key level. If that happens, then it means that this is a fake out, okay? But if it comes down, finds support and begins to bounce away, then I'll get involved with buys. That's my plan. GU as well. Okay, in fact, we didn't close above. That's why I said it's tricky, because I still think they're gonna drop, to be honest. But yeah, let's see. So GU did not break above the key level. We in fact maintained the key level as resistance. So it just looks like we're gonna have a decline on pound USD, unless of course we have the breakout. All right. So if we don't have the breakout, then of course it looks like we'll have a decline. But again, so many things just point to dollar strength, even on the chart, right? So when we go over to indices and then look at futures, I'll show you guys like DXY and see what exactly is going on with the dollar itself, so that you see that for the most part, it does look like, in all honesty, it does look like we might have more downsides with these pairs. And NU, so I think NU is like trying to respect this weekly level. Now this is good for shorts. I'm not saying it's a bar short. It is good for short. It's not. It's just not a short I'll take based on my entry patterns. That's the thing. So, in fact, I was about posting this today before my internet became very messy. So I think I'll post this tomorrow as to just an update on what's going on with NZUSD. So yeah, and then the Swiss franc pairs, there's nothing for me, to be honest. I think the only thing worthy of interest is USD CHF, which is this break and retest we're expecting, right? So for this break and retest, I'd say if the dollar is strong enough, it would also try to replicate the same thing on EU, right? It wants to be so strong that it breaks back above the key level, right? It does this, confirming that this is a fake. But if for any reason it comes back to retest, finds resistance, and starts pulling away from the key level, then I look for more downside. So that's kind of my plan. I want the dollar to show its strength, so that I don't have to take these trades, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm looking at for currency pairs. So I think the only highlight is just the GPYs, right? To be fair. And I don't know if you guys have any questions concerning currencies. So that if you don't, then I can just move over to indices and wrap it up before we look at the journals. So please, any questions?
I have a question about the currencies real quick. Um,
All right, yeah, go ahead.
I've been trading this week and it's been a pretty good week. I made my first payout on my funded account, so I think I'm done for the week. Caught those JPY buys, but I noticed that the Euro JPY broke above your key level at 163. So will
Yeah.
we be waiting for that pullback to the key level before the trade idea according to your system? For me,
Yes.
also to add a layer to the question, I'm trying to get on your level, but man, you're such a beast. I can't, it's so hard to hold trades that long, especially when it's, for actual money. And Yeah, so any feedback, any advice, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay. Now what I think for me, what helped me to kind of like make the adjustment is kind of how I looked at making money, to be honest. Because you see, for the most part, most persons kind of look at returns from a perspective of you need to make the most returns to make so much money. And that's not really true because hedge funds, to be honest, they don't really, some hedge funds don't have the best returns, but they make so much money. And you might wonder why. The reason is because of how much capital that is backed behind them. So I always say this, that first of all, if you are consistent and if you are returning, if you have a positive return, you are first of all above the 95% of retail traders that lose money in the market. You're not in that class. You're in a different class already, right? So you just have to work on making it consistent enough to get returns. So, for instance, some persons would look at a 25% return at the end of an annual year as bad. I've heard some persons say it is really bad, it's really poor. Now, of course, that depends on your risk to reward, like your risk adjusted returns. What was your drawdown? How much do you risk per trade? These things matter to the return. But if you have a 25% return with somewhere around like a 3, 4, 5% drawdown, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty decent, right? So the question is, um, with such returns, how much capital do you have backing you? Because a 20% return is good or bad. It just depends on how much you're working with, right? That's the difference. So to put this into broad perspective, I'll show you guys my journal, right? It's not exactly updated, but I'll show you guys what I have just to help you guys see how this makes sense. So again, I don't look at too many returns like in terms of percentage. I just want to make sure that it is consistent. And if it is, I'm trying to build so much capital behind it so that whenever I make such returns, I can make some more money off of that. So it is the that adjustment in my thinking that helped me to start holding trades, right? Because I I wouldn't want to hold trades before now because I would say, why would I hold a trade for so long only to make 3% or 4%? When I can make that amount of money or that return in a day or two. That used to be my thinking, quite frankly. So I'm not even surprised when most persons say things like that. But I got to understand that, okay, it just depends. How consistent will you be if you're trying to aim for 3, 4% within days? Can you do that for a year? Can you do that for 2 years, 5 years? These are the questions that matters. So when I saw that I could do this, and yes, something else is scaling up the system. Some systems cannot work on very huge accounts. Like when the drawdown comes, it is so big that the systems cannot manage it, right? So I made sure that the system I'm building can work on very huge accounts. Like I can trade this on like $1 million accounts and it would work smoothly, all right? For example, this year the highest drawdown I've had is 2%. That's it, 2%. And this has been my goal, like to reduce the drawdown as much as possible. That's it, 2%. So this system would work on anything. Just put huge capital behind it, and it works. It will be flawless. So not only is your return important, but can you scale up the system, right? So these were the things I was looking for when building out the system, and that's what kind of helped me to hold trade. So in fact, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't feel real, right? Because I look at CHFGP as an example. I've been holding this guy since like September of 2024, right? It's been months. So, and then look at what has happened. Price has pushed into profit, come back, draw down, and has gone back. So you might wonder, how do you survive all of these? I can only do that because of the adjustment that I made in my thinking. So I don't know if that answers the question. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey man, thank you so much for the answer because, and even though I know it's kind of whatever how you felt, but it helps a lot because that's exactly what I'm going through right now. That experience where I'm like a younger version of you in that sense, right? Where we're figuring out, and I think one of the key things that you pointed out was everyone's so focused on profit, 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 return, 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 win, win, win. But I love the way that you talked about mitigating your drawdown. That was actually something that I've been working on myself as well as a funded prop firm trader. and I didn't realize it until you conceptualized it and mentioned it. I was able to make, for example, this week I finished with like a 1.7% gain overall on the account, with a less than
Yeah.
1% drawdown. So, and because it's funded and it's one of my first accounts, I want the drawdown to stay as minimum as possible, 1% or below. So thank you for that reminder. Thank you for all of this, and anything else, I'll let you have the floor. Appreciate it.
All right, man. All right. Yeah, sweet. And yeah, just to add to his point, I do think that prop firms to some extent they kind of shape better traders, because you see when it forces you to like manage the daily drawdown like 5%, and sometimes the max drawdown like 10%. These things force traders to be better, right? Because if you think about it, can you really walk into a hedge fund, an institution, when you're having a drawdown as much as 15%? Can you really do that? In most cases, it's not likely, right? So because you have to trade in a way that you don't have to breach the 10% drawdown, it's good, right? It is very good, absolutely good. And then one of the things I've set as a goal, if I was you or anyone here, is see how. Don't really focus on how much you can withdraw from your account. Focus on how long you can keep such account. Because the flex, I've said this before, right? The flex is not really the payout. Anybody can gamify prop firms and try to get a payout or two. The question is, would you go back and fill the account and then buy a new challenge and then start repeating the cycle of passing challenges and getting payouts and breaching the account and then passing that's a whole cycle. You don't want to be in the cycle. You want to pass an account and keep the account, right? You keep it funded. You want to keep an account for as long as a year. If you can do that, you are better than the next person who is just recycling payouts and then getting a new account. That's not trading, right? That's not trading. If you're going to a traditional prop firm, you will not operate like that. So the longer you can keep a prop firm account, the better you are at risk management. The better you are at managing drawdowns. Just think about it. Just do that. If you can do that for a whole year, I promise you, you'll be so happy with yourself. You'll be so confident in how you trade because you kept a funded account for more than a year. That's a bigger flex than just getting paid, in my humble opinion. So again, like you said, most persons focus so much on the returns. I promise you, so much on the returns that they forget the drawdown. Your returns might be useless if your risk is too much. That's why, in some cases, when you are assessed, they call it risk-adjusted returns. What was your drawdown over your profit? What was your risk? What risk did you put on to make the percentage you have? So a trader can have what? Let's say, let me give you two examples. So a trader can have maybe, let's say a 90% return, right? A 90% return. That is fantastic, absolutely. But let's say that this trader has a 40% drawdown and 90% return. Now, at first glance, you think that is a fantastic return. But then, when you glance at that a second time, there's a little difference. I'll tell you what it is. Now, if you were to divide 90 by 40, you're going to have 2.25. Now, that's not bad, okay? But now let me give you a second example of a trader who returns, say, 35%, right? 35%, but then he has a 6% drawdown, right? Now, if we are going to make that division, if you are going to check his risk-adjusted returns, he has a better Sharpe ratio or Sharpe ratio than the first trader. In actual sense, even though the second trader has only a 35% return, he might be not he will be a better pick for some hedge funds and institutions. Why? Because his risk-adjusted returns is 5.8 over 2.25. That's massive. That's a massive difference. What it means is that by the time he makes 90%, his drawdown will not be as big as 40%. You get it? So at the end of the day, we should be focused on being better traders, not just making money or just returns. Because if you're having a 90% return but with a 35% drawdown, that's good. Yes. But come on. A trader who has a 40% return with a 5% drawdown will beat you 24 hours a day and 7 times a week, quite frankly. And then if you guys were to be assessed, he'll be a better pick. So again, it's not just about the returns. I think that's just the point. So your drawdown matters a whole lot. I've had just a 2% drawdown, and I don't know. I don't have a fixed drawdown because, of course, I don't know how this year will play out. But I'm just trying to keep the drawdown as small as possible. In fact, last year it was around 7%, right? 7-8%. So this year I'm trying to keep it at least 5%. Maybe if I can get that, I'll be completely fine. So you see, that's the goal. So when you have goals like that, I promise you'll be a better trader. Get up, I promise you. So yeah, I think that makes sense. So any other questions on currencies just before we move on?
Kazi.
Yeah, Damien, go ahead.
Yeah, you can hear me. I want to understand how you calculate your product. You mostly have trades running, right? So like, is it when you lose a trade that you calculate the drawdown, or even when it goes like even when equity comes down from probably a previous? I want to know how you calculate your drawdown.
Okay. So now it depends. Now let me show you guys an account. Let me see. Can I pull this up right now? For me to answer this question, I have to leave TradingView, right? So hold on, guys. Let me see. Now for the most part, right? So drawdowns are calculated like with equity, right? So if you have running trades and they pull back, right? So let's say you were up. Let's see. In short, let me explain this way. So drawdowns are calculated with equity for the most part, right? So if your trades pull back like 8%, so if you have like running trades and you lose like 8% in equity, but they come back and make like 4%, it will count, of course, as 4%. But when using my FX book to calculate that, you see a drawdown of like 8% in your account. So that matters. Equity is like how drawdowns are calculated. So but then I think I have an account to show you guys. Yeah, I have an account to show you guys. Just hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Account 4. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen too.
Yeah, we can see.
All right, sweet. So now this is an example of an account, all right? Just to show you guys an example. Now this update was the last update is like 18 hours ago. So as you see, the account is up 2.75%. Look at the drawdown, 2.85. Yeah, just below 3%, right? And the current equity is like 96,000. So hold up. But this was 18 hours ago because as we speak, the current equity is around 112,000. So this is like yesterday, right? This update was from yesterday. So right now the current equity is around 112,000, which means if the trades are closed now, the account will be up 12% with a 2.85% drawdown. So that's an example to show you what the drawdowns look like. So it depends from account to account. But yeah, for the most part, it's just equity, right? For the most part, it's just equity. So if that makes sense. So yeah, just going back to
You mentioned that
okay
to increase your seats, you go down to 5%. And looking at how yours is calculated is based on the equity that it's used to calculate the drawdown. But then you can't control as to whether trade should go into drawdown before going into profit. It is after the trade profit or stop loss that you can your decision was right or wrong, right? So I don't know how you are aiming to. I don't know how you want to be able to reduce your drawdown from 8 to 5. I don't know how you'll be able to achieve that because you can't determine like
Fine.
how a trade plays out before it goes to profit or stop loss. So if you
Yes,
could
that is true. Now,
shed light on that one.
okay, I understand. That is true. Now, it's not when I say that. How do I explain this now? I'm simply saying that I would hope, right? Because, like you said, I don't have exact control over that. As we speak, I have 10 open trades, so I don't have exact control as to. Okay, but here's what I mean. Now, in terms of equity, it isn't. Okay, let's not say impossible, but it would be very unlikely for me to have a 5% running loss on my account. You get it? So for me to have a 5% run, it can't happen, right? Because at most a trade or two will stop out, basically. So I can't really have that 5% running loss equity because equity is like running trades, right? So I can't really have that 5% running loss as my equity. You get? But it's possible for me to have losing trades. I think that makes sense. So when I say this, is like I'm also testing out. I just want to see what my journals will look like, and that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping I can get at least below 5% or somewhere around 5%. It's not like anything above that is bad. It's just like a goal I set for myself, and it's not like I can do so much about it. But that's why I'm also picking the best trades. You get? So the question is, let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens with the trades. Now, for the current journal you guys saw, let me just have a look. For the drawdown you guys saw on the account, it was CAD JPY. CAD JPY stopped out from last year, right? I took it last year, it stopped out. EU stopped out as well, and then USDCHF stopped out. These were the three trades that stopped out. That was what came close to the 3% drawdown you guys saw. That's 2.85. So these were like actually trades that stopped out. You get, and now all of that has been recovered. If that makes sense. So that's like, yeah, I don't know if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it
I
does.
think that kind of makes sense. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we'll see, right? We'll see. Let's see for indices. In all honesty, I think some of these trades have left us or left me, I would say, because they didn't really pull back to present opportunities. But yeah, some of them are looking good. Now, of course, the S&P is in profit. Like we took it, it's going well so far. This guy, on the other hand, did not pull back, which is why I say we may have missed it. France 40 is doing well as well. Let's see. Yeah, just a little bit of profit. What else? This guy hasn't pulled back yet, so maybe we've missed it. Then the K, yeah, this guy, especially this guy. I thought it was gonna pull back. I honestly expected it pull back. Now, remember when we discussed this? I said if I was going to take this here, it means that I would have to keep my stops down here, which would have made this very, very high in terms of like the stop loss. But I was preferring to get that retest so that I can have a much better reward somewhere around this level. But so far, it doesn't look like I'm getting it. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, if we missed it. Yeah, fine. That's okay. Another reason why I didn't want to jump into these guys just like that without waiting for that retest is because I'm kind of, when it comes to indices, I'm just long. I don't really sell equities or indices, right? I don't sell an index. I would only trade with the trend, and in most cases they trend up. So by buying all of these, just by getting involved, if for any reason there's another crash, it means I would lose on all of them. So I'm just picking the best trades because they presented the opportunities I was looking for. That's why the S&P, France 40, and the Nasdaq, they presented what I was looking for. That's why I took them, and that's why I was just waiting on these other guys to do the same, right? So it's kind of like still risk management because I'm not just trying to jump into all of them if they don't present what I'm looking for. You get the same way these guys dumped. It's the same way they can dump again. It's possible. We don't know what can happen in the market. So that's why they just rush in to get everything. Well, yeah, we have three, and if all of them would move, the three we have would move. So we'll make money off of them, and that's fine. That's pretty much what I'm looking for. Nasdaq as well. So far, so good in profit. And yeah, this is this week, and that's why they're pushing. That's why I said The portfolio is doing really well as we speak. Russell, a breakout, right? A breakout. I need a pullback too before I can buy this guy. US tech is also breaking out. Yeah, but I think I need to break properly and a retest, and of course we'll get long. So this guy as well. Yeah, a breakout, a retest, we'll get long. So I still think that maybe some of these other indices will present better opportunities. So we'll see, right? That's why I'm not trying to rush them, to be honest. Right. So yeah, gold is pulling back. I still have no interest until we come down here, to be honest. Copper is, let me see. Aren't you interested now, copper? Okay, so I'll just set this a lot down here. Yep. So that if it comes back and gives me a retest, I think we might be looking at let's see. Yep. Okay, so this is a copper. Now, of course, you've seen the break and retest I'm looking out for, right? And if you guys look at the monthly time frame, we are well above the key level. We're testing it. So it's a question: are we going to see new higher highs? In fact, let me see. Yeah, copper is like all-time high. Sorry. So that's the question we're trying to ask copper now. Are we going for new highs from here if this break and retest is successful, or are we going to pull back to the downside? We don't know. We'll find out, right? We'll find out. Yeah, that's for copper. Now, palladium is, this is what I said, right? Just a break even, just barely on that break even. This guy. So I'm also long here. Long platinum, which is in profit, just a little bit of profit here. And silver is not ready. Let me see. No, not yet. Silver is not ready. I need to break out. So here, still more opportunities, right? Expecting more opportunities. Now this is DXY. This is what I wanted to speak on. Exactly. Now, the dollar has been weak in the last, I don't know, since, let me see, since January, in fact, to be honest. Dollar has been very weak. And we came all the way down to this key level 100, right? And it looks like we broke. Now, this is what I was saying about breakouts, right? This is, I would not, this is just, it's not the best breakout, to be honest, right? It's just not the best breakout. Because this month can just do this, right? And think about it. If this month does something like this, right, like a bullish candle, it would mean that price just respected this as support, right? And that's why I try to be careful with the breakout I try to take. So I need it to break out properly so that I don't get caught in the fake out, because in most cases that's what you get. So we'll see. Now this makes sense, right? If the dollar bounces off of 100 and maintains this level as support, if we come up to the 3-month time frame, look at this. This level has acted as support for what? The last 5 years, right? So is the dollar going to bounce off the support? This is a week. Okay, so same thing with the monthly. Are we going to get a bounce of support? If that's the case, then it means that we might be going back to 106. And now you see why buying EU and buying GU is kind of like a big gamble to some extent. If you're trying to bring in correlations, that's the thing. That's why I said I would honestly prefer that the dollar shows its strength well enough to break below those key levels. The euro is actually the euro is still weak, although stronger than some currencies, but Europe is not looking too good. Spain, some of these countries are not looking too good from the data I'm seeing. So it's like the best scenario would be that dollar just does this, right? Gains strength, and then EU and GU just breaks below the key level, right? That saves everybody. You get. So that's why I'm like, again, the dollar is like very stubborn currency. This guy, I mean, it's a king for a reason, right? So that's it. That's about it. So if we bounce here, then most likely we're coming back to 106. And if I come back to 106, then it means that AU will dump, NU will dump, AU is supposed to dump, G is supposed to dump. you get. So, but yeah, let's see. Let's see. That's about it. I think that's all I have for you guys. I think I've gone through all the positions, all the trade ideas, what I currently have, all the running trades, how I'm looking, and yeah. So okay, so now I think we'll move on to the journals, but I think I'll start first just to give some of us a preamble of what my journal looks like. So I'll start first. Although mine is different, I just track performance, so mine is different. But I'll start with that, and then I think some of you guys can take the stage. If that makes sense. So let me switch my screen now. Let's see. Yeah, let's do. Okay. So let me see. Okay, so now this is the return of this portfolio since January of 2024. So that's like a year and some months, right? And over the months, I have made some adjustments to the system, and they've been playing out really well. In fact, the adjustments started to take effect in October of 2024. So I'll show you guys the stats from then. But right now, let me show you guys what the stats look like. So win rate 38% from January, okay, and I'm up 37% from then till now. Actually, it should be 36 because of the loss on Pound J, which is yet to be updated. So 36%. And if you look at this year's return, it's currently at 14, but it will be at 13 when Pound J updates. So that'll be 13% up this year, which is exactly beautiful, right? Let's change that. Hold up. Last year, this year. Okay, so this is how we're looking. Okay, this year. Now we have the wins and then the losses. Okay, so what else? What else am I trying to put here? So yeah, now if we look back at the return from then until now, okay, this is how we look. But now take note of the win rate, and then take note of the win rate again when I adjust the timeline to October when the effect of these adjustments then to take effect. So I'll bring this to the 1st of October, and yeah. Do you see the change? All right, there's a big change in the win rate. So the win rate went up from 38% to 56%. Now, personally, I'm trying to get this win rate up onto like somewhere around 80, 85, right? It would get there because all my running trades right now are in profit, right? So if I close them, this win rate should jump up like so bad. But I'm not trying to do that. I want to see all the trades play out, all right, before I see what the win rate looks like. But personally, I'm trying to get to this system to the point where the win rate stays somewhere around 80, 85. 75 at best, right? Lowest 75, but somewhere just 80. That's like what I'm looking at. So I think I'll get there. Okay, the outcome of these trades will help me see how close I am, or if I've already gotten there, to be honest. So yeah, let's see. So but then this is what I'm trying to say, right? There's a big jump in the win rate. More wins, less losses. And look at the P&L in terms of percentage. So between October and the end of April, this is like a 20% return if we include the loss on GJ, right? There's a 20% return. If I'm to close the running trades I have now, this would be like a 30% return between October and what? April. Not only will it be that, but it would be how many trades? I have 10 open trades right now. It will be 19 wins, right? 19 wins, yeah, because all of these trades are current winners since they haven't lost them. It will be 19 wins, and then surely that would put the win rate at a much higher point. But that's why I'm saying I don't want to just close the trades because, of course, they have potential. So, but that's why I'm also eager to see how they play out so that I can see what the stats look like, right? These things matter to me so much. Stats and data, now they're everything to me, to be honest. So again, this is the difference, right? And that's why I said the system is looking really good, really, really good. I must say, really good. So yeah, that's about it. And I think if we look at April's return, let's see. Um, 1st of April. Let's see. Yeah, last month. Last month. Okay. So this would be a 6% return because I'm going to include once G updates, that'll be a 6% return, which is good. Yeah, very good. 6%. Very good, I must say. Now, we remember how these three trades played out, right? So I you who are seeing the analysis on the channels and then seeing the updates can testify to this. Like you see that this is like everything is live. There's no fluff, no bluff, right? These three trades stopped out and played out on the same day on the 4th of April 2025. And I called them out when they all played on the same day. So you see that everything is tracked. Everything is just tracked, and yeah, that's about it. And what else? I think I was missing some. Hold up. Okay, so I was trying to explain to Philip. Yeah. So, Philip, I think you're still here. Okay, you're here. So let me show you this.
Still here,
Now,
boss.
this account. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Now, this account started around 500k as of January 2024. Now, this account is up 37%, but look at the return. Look at what it looks like, right? Now, anybody who thinks, okay, let me take this back to just last year. Exactly. Now, at the end of last year, I had a 23% return with about 9 open trades that I moved over to this year. Okay, so this is the return on a 500k account, but just 23%. Now, I don't know where you live in the world, but this is money, right? This is good money wherever I live in the world. I don't care where you live, to be honest. But then it is only coming from a 23% return. The same return that some persons castigate, same return that some persons do not like. I think that makes sense. But then if you did this on a 500k account, this is something that you're going home with. The question is, if you know that you're consistent, why don't you then focus on getting more capital? You see, there's always a statement that when you're consistent, just allow your capital to do the heavy lifting, right? Sometimes you don't have to stress so much on your performance. Of course, you need to perform, yes, but allow your capital to do the heavy lifting for you. Because this same return on a $1 million account would be double of this, truly. And it is just 23%. So if you're good, if you're consistent, why don't you just keep your returns that way, stay consistent, but then build capital? So that as time goes on, you just get to make so much more on the same average returns you supposedly have. If we're bringing this to like this year, yup, insane. Now, hold up. Exactly. 37%, 185,000 on the same 500k account. And this is around 685 as we speak. So you see that it is just 37%, right? But look at this. Some other persons who may have tried to who were struggling to make 70%, may not have made this much in terms of the actual money they made in the market. But you can do this if you're just trying to work on bigger capital. That's it. So you see, if you adjust your thinking to a great extent, it makes your work, I don't know, when I say less stressful, it just reduces your stress, to be honest. Because your focus changes. Your focus, yes, is to perform, but more importantly, to raise more capital. So whenever you make money, whenever I close a trade, whenever you close a trade after holding for months, yeah, that's some real bucks. So, for example, CTF JPY that has like a 5-hour return, that's $25,000 if the trade plays out, if you're risking $5,000 per trade. And then think about it. The beauty of this is that you don't lose so much. So it's like, even though you don't always close trades, even though you don't always have too many wins every single time, whenever you have the wins, they are great. And then you don't count too many losses. So at the end of the day, it makes sense, right? At the end of the day, it's good. I think it's good. Okay, I think it's good. I mean, anybody can say the return is bad, but yeah, that's them. I think this is very good. So first of all, the focus is just get out of the other class, right? Make sure you are in the top 5% of traders that are actually making money, that are actually being consistent, and then work on refining the skill, work on making the system better. As long as you're returning an average of 1 to 2% per month, you're not in the class of the unprofitable traders. You're like in a different class already. So your focus now changes to, okay, how do I keep these returns consistent and how do I raise capital alongside it? Yeah, this can be done. So 37% is big or small depending on the capital you're managing. That's it. So yeah, I hope this makes sense. And
Hello, Casey.
yeah, I'll be going.
Okay. Actually, you are talking about something now. Okay, let's say someone. Personally, let's say, okay, I'm deciding that, okay, every month, like, I want to be making like just 1 or 2% of my capital, 1 or 2% of my capital. Understand? So, okay, let's say I've maybe from the beginning of the month, like, I've already made the 1 or 2% of my capital or something. Like, okay, I've already acquired what I'm hoping for, like, what I'm working for. I don't know if you are getting my point. So, and maybe right from the beginning of the month, I've already acquired, okay, maybe for my own journal or something, like, okay, every month I'm supposed to be making 1 or 2% of my capital, and I've already made that, and we are still doing the month or something. And okay, let's say I'm seeing some trades that have a potential or something. Like, can I still go for it or something, or is it just maybe I'm breaking my own principle? I don't know if you're getting my point.
I understand your point. I get it. Now this is where this has to make sense. Now to be honest, I don't personally agree with having fixed returns per month. Right? The reason why you can't do that is because market conditions can change. Okay, so it is not advisable to have fixed returns per month. When I said 1 to 2% per month, I meant on average, right? So, for example, I can close most of these trades. Most of these trades can hit take profit in 3 months, but then the returns they present have covered for like the last few months, if that makes sense. So when I said 1 to 2% per month, I don't necessarily mean that you have to look to make 1 to 2% every single month. Okay, you want to look at an annual year or quarterly or half a year, right? But then that would now average to maybe 1 to 3% per month, right? For example, if you return 25% at the end of an annual year, that meant that you average 2% per month. It does not mean that you are looking for 2% every single month. You get. So that's how I approach that. Okay. So I don't think you should look out for fixed returns per month. I don't think that's enough way to trade because you're putting that on a variable that is not consistent, right? I mean, look at in April, I had a 6% return. Let me see. In April, I had a 6% return. Let me see what happened in February. Okay, just to show you guys that this can be different. So February until the end of February. Let's see. Okay, good. So in February, I had 2.4% different, right? And then in January, I don't know, it would differ, right? It's never the same, right? If that makes sense. Let me see. Sorry, am I getting this right? So the 1st of January until hold on. Until the end of January, let's see. Exactly. I didn't close any trades. You get. So you see now that I don't operate in that manner. I don't operate in I have to get a specific amount of wins per month, if that makes sense. I just trade, right? I just trade, and then whatever the average is what I look out for. I don't know if that makes sense. So now you see that I have like 14%, or let's say 13%. But then if you divide that by the first 4 months, you can now say, okay, I was averaging maybe 3.5% per month, something like that. So even though I averaged that, I was not looking for that every single month. Okay. So does that answer your question?
Cool. That answers my question.
All right. So if you see your setups, right, take it, right? Just take them. Do not have like fixed returns in mind per month. That will not make sense. That will not make sense. Okay, any other questions just before we just before we pick out someone and go through general. Any other questions? All right. In the absence of any questions, who would like to take the stage? Who has a complete journal at the moment that we can review? George, Damien, Abdul, Carlos, anybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Say George.
Yes. Let's focus on my own now.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll take out my screen now. You guys just give me a minute. So George, just try to set up your screen. I'll take out mine now, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes. All right. Hey George, I saw your screen. Did you take it out?
I think it it went off by itself. Let me start again. No, no. I Yeah, this is my screen. I started doing it on stock journal till you told me I should do it on Notion. So
Okay.
I started updating it, but I'm not really done. But it was, so far, this is what I've done. I start with the dates and the pair market structure, the confirmation of entry, the time frame, the P&L, the risk to reward, the screenshot of the trade idea, and the lesson learned from the overall trade. That is how I do it.
Okay. Yeah, this looks very interesting. So let's see. What is the earliest date that you have?
Okay.
Let's see. Is it from March?
Yes, March, like March, but I mixed up. Like the way I was arranging it, I was not really okay with that. March.
Okay, so but then the earliest date is March 19th.
Yes, March 19th. So we took the USD GDP as a pair, and the market structure was uptrend, and the confirmation was the Fibonacci 50% and a key level of 149 on a daily time frame, but the entry was taken on 4 hours, and I took a loss on it. The risk to reward was this. So I don't know whether and this is what I did.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. I'm trying to find some similarities in our accounts. And now one thing I think we missed here, sorry, I think your audio is like echoing back. The one thing I think we missed here is if you bought or sold. Like for example, can we see okay, like look at Eugene now, right? There's an uptrend. Okay, so I think that is what helps us on. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, let's see.
Like, do I need to
Let's,
add anything to it?
now what I thought would be here is something like maybe if you bought or so like if like how do I put this now? So you can either buy or sell currency pair, but there's no coding that
Okay.
actually explains if you bought or sold. You get so it's not easy to tell unless you
Like
look at
entry.
the market exactly. What was your entry? Was it a buy or a sell? Like it's not easy to figure it out unless we look at the market structure. Does that make sense? But that's still okay. That can be adjusted, right? That's very much fine. Now I'm just looking at something I can work with here. Um, so let's look at the wins. All right, let's look at the wins. Now we don't have so much data here. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just about 8 trades. So not much of data to work with. But let's see the wins. Let's look at the wins. Something else we don't have. Something else we don't have is okay. What we have here is the day you got involved with the trade, right?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Let me see. This is interesting. So now let's look at the wins. You have how many wins do you have here? I can see 3 on my screen. But how many wins do you have?
Yeah, one. Yes, three for now. Three for now. But I have other other trade running though, but I have not really updated.
Updated. Okay, that's fine. 3 wins. Now let's see. So AD card. You sold AD card. If that makes sense. I can't really see the text clearly because it feels like your network is still kind of cracking. So I can't exactly read the text from my end. I don't know if that's the same with others there, but
Yes.
okay, it's clear now. It's clear now. It's clear now. Hold up. Okay, some things are missing. Now, you don't have your P&L here. That's something else you don't have. Okay, when I say P&L, I mean what exactly did you make on the trade? I can see the risk to reward, right? But I don't see the P&L. For example, AD card. I think AD card played out, but I don't know what you made on the trade. Was it 2 hour? Was it 3 hour? Was it 4 hour? I don't know. It was 1 to 6, but did you actually hit the 1 to 6 on AD card?
Okay.
You get?
Like
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
no, please. Come
Okay,
back again.
so when you look at AD card as an example, right? You sold AD card, and then from what I saw, your risk to reward was like a 1 to 6, right?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Good. Now, what you won the trade? So did you make 6 hour on the trade?
Yes, I won it. It was a full
So you made 6 hour on the trade. That's what I'm asking.
It went to a full TP straight. Yes.
Okay, so that's
So this was the entry level.
okay.
Enter.
So what I'm asking is, you made 6 hour on the trade.
Yes.
So-
Full TP. Yes.
Okay, good. So what I'm saying is, you need to have a column after risk to reward ratio that shows P&L, right? and PIL will show you 6 hours. So if you lost the trade, it will show -1 hour. If you want a trade, if it's 2 hour, keep it there as 2 hour, right? If it's 3 hour, make it 3 hour. Whatever you made on the trade, include that in the column. You get, because it becomes easier to understand. Yeah, it becomes easier to understand.
Okay.
That's the only
Yeah, I
thing I would
understand.
say. Okay. Let's see. So let's look at the other 2 wins. Now, your screen is still cracking. To be honest, I can't do much. I can't see much. Sorry, is this just me, or can you guys screen?
ZD USD.
Same here. I think it's network.
Oh, same. Okay. Okay. So what do we do about this now, George? Because I need to be able to read from your text to really like make analysis on the journal, right? So how do we do this? Okay, it's clear now, but it seems like the network is really cracking. So what do you think we should do, John?
So I don't know. Like, can I send it like email to you for you to look through?
Okay, I think that's a better idea, right? If that works out, I think that's a better idea. So if you can send it to me, so that I can whenever we're discussing it, I can pull it up on my screen and we can look at it together. I think that's like I think that sounds like a better idea. So then it might mean that are you on Discord? Are you on Discord?
Yes, please. Yeah, I'm on Discord.
Okay. Are you in the community?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you please text me on Discord? Please text me on Discord so that we can find a way and I can get this. But it will mean that you will have to come up on Monday, right? So that I can have your Notion journal before Monday, right? So I think just text me on Discord or fix it. You send it to me, and then on Monday I would show this from my screen, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I will do that. Yes.
All right.
I'll test you.
That's fine. Okay, and then it means that maybe from Monday you might have added a few more trades that you've not added yet. So that will just make the journal have more data, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, but please text me, okay?
Okay.
All right. So anybody else who might want to come up for the next few minutes just before we
Let me actually get to share my screen, Casey.
All right, Carlos, please go ahead.
All right, minutes, please.
All right.
Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. It's actually and like the most recent trade from the 20th well. So, but this is the run of it so far. I think I actually started tracking from February. Actually started tracking from February, and the data I have, I got involved. The pair uh, down to the trading type, if it's actually or maybe short term or reversal. Then my trend structure, is it an uptrend? Is it a downtrend? Then I have my reason for entry, and after that, I actually have the trade time frame here. Then I have the position if I'm actually going long or if I'm actually going short. Then the entry image, the exit image, my status, like what have been the outcome. Is it a win trade? Is it a loss trade? Or is it so like these three? Actually holding these positions like right now. And then I have how much time I've been able to hold trade. That's where I have the hold here. Then my P&L, I actually have two P&Ls, the P&L one and the P&L two. Like if it's actually a trade that I actually got out of before it actually did played out. Yeah. So but I actually have some examples where I had to exit the trade before it out. And I think one of the examples here that I had the P&L one as 2.5, whereas it was actually a 3R that I was actually expecting. So that's it. That's that about the data I have. That's that about the data I have.
This is solid. This is very solid. No, this is very solid. Now, okay, let's see. Let's do this way, right? I want to be able to to dissect these journals, okay? So please, Carl, I think you also send yours as well, okay? So so that I can go through each of these things, I want to go through the positions, everything. Can you send this as well? Okay, just send this to me. Send this to me, okay? Please.
Okay, but I'm not
I
sure
think
I actually know how to handle that, but maybe we'll talk about that then. Maybe you guide me on how to send it out.
I'll show you how. That's not a problem. Um, I'll show you how. So let me see. So what it means now is for this to be very smooth, right? For this to be very smooth, because I want to go through each of the trades and find patterns. I think if you have a complete journal, I think all you have to do is send it to me, right? And then I will kind of like take turns with each one of us on the live sessions. Is that fine? So please, anyone here, yes, it's just like a public notice. Anyone here who already has a complete journal, even if it's not complete, right? Even if you want us to just review what you have at the moment, okay? Just send it to me. Okay, just send it to me on Discord because
I
that's
have
where
a
you guys
complete
have
journal. Okay.
access.
Okay, maybe you should.
Sorry,
Okay, should
what?
I show my own show right now?
Yeah, you can do that. I think Captain was saying something. Sorry, hold up, Captain. I think you were
I
saying
have my
something.
complete. I have my complete journal. I can send it to you on Discord.
All right, that's sweet. Okay, okay, that makes sense. So please, what I've understood here is for us to go into these journals in depth, I have to like kind of go through everything so that you guys will just guide me while I look through it, right? Because I know that there are certain questions I have to ask, certain things I want to look for, right? So you guys should just send it to me on Discord so that I'll take turn. Maybe we'll take like 2-3% every session until we have like everyone complete. Because like I said before, the goal for me is just to review journals. Okay, we've talked about so much in the market. I want to see how you guys are performing. Okay, I want to really see how you guys are performing. So, um, please, all right, please, after the session today, between now and Sunday, all right, please, you guys should just reach out to me on Discord and then send me your updated journals, even if it's not fully complete. Whatever you have that you think we can use, to like have a review, just send them to me. I'll go through beforehand, right? So that I have a better idea of your journal. And then when we come on the live sessions, I'll just pick one person and then we'll start with the person. Is that fine? I think that's a better way to do this.
Yeah, of course. I think it's more better to see it from your own end.
All right, sweet. But this is good. I am so impressed. All right, I am so impressed. This is good. All right, so George, Carlos, this is fine. Abdul, I think you have yours now. Let me just see that. So maybe Carlos, you can take out your screen.
Let me take up the screen now.
Yeah, now this is too good.
Okay.
So Abdul, Carlos, take out his screen so that you can share yours. Let's see what you have.
Yeah,
This is really good. Abdul, yeah, go ahead. Cheers.
Okay, I'll log in now. Yeah, can you see my screen yet?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is my journal. I think, I started right from January, so this is the January, this is my January listen. Okay, oh sorry, I started from January. I joined January and February together because I started journaling in March. So everything
Yeah.
right from the start of this year.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So actually, I'm sorry if my journal looks messed up or something. So at the end of the of my distance,
This is good.
so
This is good.
so okay, on the 23 January 2025, okay, pound JPY. So okay, this is the pair pound JPY and structure. Like what's the current like the current trend of the like how the chart is like current charts, like I don't know how to put that. But actually,
I get it.
now
Is it trending to the upside or is it trending to the downside? Is it moving sideways? I get it. Okay, I get it.
Okay, it's actually ranging. So on the daily time frame. So
Okay.
Trade type continuation. So
Okay.
entry time frame is 4 hours. 4 hours, like the entry time frame is actually 4 hours, and the distance is break and retest the entry type.
Okay.
So I had a loss on the trade. So
Okay.
and the PR now is still 1 hour, 1 hour. Actually, that was the stop loss that I said, and the trade actually took 7 days. This is the duration under the duration section. So actually, I couldn't take the screenshot of the charts then, because I haven't started journaling then.
Okay.
Same as Euro USD too. So on the daily time frame, it's actually pre-carry tests too. But I still had a loss there too.
Okay. Sweet. No, this is good.
So Euro card. Okay, it's actually ranging chart too. So and the entry time is actually 4 hours. So pre-carry test, I had a loss too there. So actually, I think I took the image of them. Okay, this is the image. I think so. So this is the image, the first image of this thing, image before and then after the trade. So the market actually reversed with a weak down here. Oh sorry, up here. So can you see the chart?
I can see that.
So this is the image before.
Okay, so yeah, this is good. Now, can you hear me, Abdul? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so this is also very good. I would also want you to send this, okay, so that I can have a proper review of this. Now, this is too good. I'm pleasantly surprised. So impressed. Okay, I have to say this.
This is the April. Okay,
Sorry,
so
come again.
this no, actually, I'm showing the April this thing, because right
Okay,
from
okay.
April, I asked a question then. I asked you a question then on Discord that how do you actually journal your trade? Like, is it when you actually took your entry at that moment you input your trade on the journal, or is when the trade actually play out? So right from April, so I started journaling my trade. Once the trade play out, whether it's a loss or a win, so I started journaling my trade then. Because before, right from February and March, I used to journal my trade. Once I take the entry, I'll journal my trade. So if the trade plays out, I'll just have to input the rest. So but right from January, I started taking my journal after the trade plays out. So
Okay,
and this
okay.
and April, I suffered four losses in April, and I had 6 wins.
Interesting. Very interesting. This is good. So I understand. So I think I know why you mentioned this adjustment, and I think I'll also point it out maybe in the next session because when you close the trade also matters because that's where when you're calculating a return, like returns for a particular month, it is actually when the trades are closed, right? The day the trades are closed. So if, for example, I take a trade today, right? Like, okay, I've been holding CTFJ price since September. If I close the trade today, I would rather record it as part of May's report, right? Not as September's report, if that makes sense. So that's why I asked Abdul to make sure his dates. Now, ideally, you can use 2 dates, okay, if you want to be more precise. But then a date when the trade is closed, and then the duration just is just better, right? So again, this is good, very good. I would want to see this in person, go through these things myself, and then use that in the next session when we come on. Okay. So even if you got any of you here who has not shared his or her journals yet, right? As long as you have something you think we can work on, please just send them to me. I can have a review first, and then we come on. Now, after we're done with this review this month, one thing I would make sure we do or we'll start doing is everyone should have an account. If you guys have not already done that, it will become not mandatory, but it become important that everyone has an account. Even though it's a demo account, just create a demo account. Ideally, I would expect that you create a demo account, right? So you create a demo account and then use that to track the trades. The reason why I say this is so that whatever you have in your journal would reflect on the account, so that it would keep you more accountable. It would make sure that it would mean that oh, Sahil, welcome. What a pleasant surprise. So yeah, it would mean that you're taking the trades, right? And you can actually tie your results to an account. You get. So I think most of us have not done that yet. So that's why I want us to have the review first. So that once we're done with the review, any new trades you are taking after that would make sure there's an account created and tied to it. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So that it means that every trade you're recording, you actually took the trade, you already put the duration of time, everything. Okay. So this is something we're going to look at maybe after the
Yeah,
if
of
that makes
course,
sense.
we do understand. We do understand. Yeah, we do understand.
All right. All right, cool.
Because personally, trades I do track. I actually trade execute on an account. I have a couple of trades that I do take the setup for, and they do play out, but I don't like quite include that in my journal because like what's the need if I'm actually holding a live account or a funded account, I'm actually missing out, so there is no point in getting it involved in my journal. That's just it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, which goes back to what we're trying to say, right? So it's always good to make sure that the trades that you take are tied to an actual account, so that when you take them on TradingView, you place the trades, you place the stops, everything, so that when you record them, it feels more real to you, right? It feels more real to you. I promise you, you make progress. So when you see your journals, making progress, right? You can also see this progress reflect on your account. Okay, so yeah, this is just part of what we're expected to do. In fact, in the later months and years when things are quite different, I think it will become like not mandatory, but it will become a requirement for traders on the floor or in the community that each trader has an account linked to himself, so that it would serve as a track record, right? So these are part of the things we're trying to create. So I'm just trying to build this, instill this in you right now, so that you can use this and improve really well. Okay. So yeah, I'm just giving you guys a heads up. So at the end of this month, this is something that I think we're going to really be speaking of. Okay, but yeah, I'm so happy. Like I am so happy to see this. Right, I think this is my first time coming across your journals after we spoke about it. It showed that you guys took what we said seriously, right? Everything we talked about, you guys took the screenshot. The columns are exact, right? Everything is just the same. So all we have to do now is just look at the journals and reflect on them. So please just send them to me. I would be so glad to review your journals. Something else that we're going to do in the future is, as time progresses, when you have your like your accounts and your journals, you're tracking your trades and things like that. Something that you can do is just use an independent auditor. Sometimes ChatGPT can do that for you. Like you can impute your track record there and ask ChatGPT to grade it for you. It'll tell you what you're doing maybe bad, or tell you how your grade compares to like maybe hedge funds and this. I do that sometimes. I even did that earlier today as well too. So, but that's by the way, right? I think we take it slow. So please, guys, just send me your track records or your journals, and let's see where we go from here. Okay.
Casey, later on, I think you could just put us through on how we can just send you the notion, this like the journal, because actually I don't have idea about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, journals. Let me see. Because if I can do that here, I might just show you guys from here so that everyone sees it at once and understands how to do it. How did I get that? There's a way to create a link. You guys hold up, alright? Just please hold up. Let me just log in because I did this last 2 years or so. Let me see. Um, okay, let me see. Hold up, guys. Hmm. Yeah, my internet is messed up today. I can't remember that. Sorry, guys. Just 1 minute, please. Um. Okay. Top right.
Hello, sir.
Let's see. Hello, sir. Yeah. Promise. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, I was about to ask your username on Discord is it the one with the picture of a chart?
Yes, a chart. Yeah, that's my name. Case is my name. Yes. So
Okay,
that's the one.
because I sent you a request a while ago, but
I think I missed it. I hardly look at my request. I think that's kind of like a problem. I hardly look at my request, and sometimes maybe your name is not the name there, so I don't know it is any of you unless I know that. But I hardly go there, so I think I'll have to go back and check. So what's your Discord name?
it's Eli underscore 27.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wouldn't know that it was you. Okay, I'll check that. Okay, my apologies. I'll check that.
No problem. I also want to send because I didn't really uh, how do I put this now? I didn't really
Sorry, come again. I think your audio is quite down. come again, please.
I want to say I didn't really do much of the journaling. I just did for full of March and up to April 7. Then I stopped because I realized some problem in how I trade and in my system. So I just stopped to correct it for myself.
Okay. So
I
are
was
you
wondering if
asking?
I could if I could send like a screenshot to see if it's on correct or on par with what the rest uh did.
Okay. Yeah. Please send a screenshot, or you can even send it the journal as well. I think any of those would work fine. Okay. I still want to see it if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
okay, no
then
problem.
okay. So I think when we have the discussion, I would like to know what you try to change or what you try to adjust. Okay. So, but yeah, just send it as well. That's fine. Send it.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh. Now I can't really find that. Now I think there used to be an option, right? There used to be an option to make the journal public, right? So yep.
Okay, then maybe probably when you find it later on, you can just update us on Discord or Telegram.
Yeah. All right, that's better. So or maybe I'll post it on Telegram with like a step-by-step process on how to get there. You get, so that way everyone has an opportunity to do it. Okay, because it will take me a while. It will take me a while to get there. I know I had one of my journals public right at one point, so I'm trying to figure out like how I did it. Okay, so I'll just take my time and do that, and then I'll send you guys a step-by-step process on Telegram or something, so that you guys can see how to get there, and then you guys can now send it to me on Discord.
Can you hear
All
me?
right.
Okay, Cassie, I have tried. I tried to send.
Sorry, George, come in.
Yeah, I tried to share the link to you, but I am able to send it to your Discord. So I don't know whether you can look at it, whether it's the same thing. I shared
Okay.
the Notion
I
link.
Okay, I would check that. I would check that after the session. Okay, but sometimes there's a way the links are shared. Like there's a way you might share it, and then it might require access. You get, because there's a way you have to make it public. Sometimes even if you share it, I might need access. Like I might need your permission to access the journal, but I don't want it that way. I want a situation where the link is public and we can access it. So that's why I wanted you guys to use it the other way. But I'll still check this. If I can view this without permission, then maybe I would use your step-by-step process and then send it to the other guys, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So once the session is then I will check it out and then I'll give you guys feedback. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah. Any more questions?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I was actually asking, in the journal there is a place we are seeing on the top right, and we on that device issue
Sorry,
a point
sorry,
whereby maybe you can smell. I don't know if that's the right way to get.
sorry, I didn't quite get that. I think your network was kind of cracking. Can you come again, please?
I said on the journal by the top right there is a point that I'm seeing shared, and when I click on that, they provide a space to input an email address. So I don't I can go.
Um, let me see. Let me see. I think it's something of that. So I think it's around here, but I want to make sure it's correct. Okay, I want to make sure it's correct. So you guys just please, let me just check that. Let me just check that because there are like two options. I know I did this before now. So it's around share. That's where I'm at, right? But let me just check that properly and then I'll let you guys know. So don't worry, I'll send you guys a step-by-step process on Telegram on how to go about this. Okay. If that makes sense, just I'll do that. So between now and tomorrow, I'll get that done. Then I'll let you guys know. I'll send it on Telegram. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think this is where we draw the curtain. Yeah, it was a fantastic session. I can't lie. And even more impressed is how serious you guys are with these journals. I must say I'm impressed. I'm amazed, pleasantly surprised, and happy to see this, that we're taking our trades, we're tracking them, we're following up. Like, that's what this means. We're following up. This is cool to see. And I'm now very much interested in looking at the journals itself and looking at the data and things like that. So yes, I'm so happy. I can't even lie. I'm so happy. So once again, thank you guys for showing up. Okay, you guys make this lively. Okay, you guys make the sessions worth it, and that's why I'll keep coming up. Okay, so thank you guys for showing up, and yes, I will see you guys on Monday. All right. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
same.
much.
Of course,
Okay,
of
thank you.
course,
Have a wonderful weekend.
of course. You too. You too. You're all welcome. Okay. Take care now. Let me stop the recording.